Welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Pastor D. Robinson. Some women choose to terminate their unplanned pregnancies because of fear and lack of support. But first, the vulnerable population cannot get their basic health care needs met, and as a result, more severe problems arise. Kathy Rhodes reports.
When it comes to health care, potential needs can be overwhelming. Part of the challenge is just identifying the barriers that have to do with access.
Adventist Health works in a number of communities, and in each of those communities there's a large population of the underserved. There's a lot of need.
We're right on that borderline income where you might have a little bit of insurance, but then you have huge copays. You have deductibles to meet, copays, and times 7 kids and 2 adults. I mean, you can imagine $100 a month for dental per kid, per person, would add up really quickly. It does save a lot of money. The next 2 kids up are 12 and 13, and they're finally cavity free because of these clinics.
I look forward to it every quarter, and I'd really like to see it grow, be available more often in more places.
It's a chance to meet a whole new set of people who care about others. They really want to be a part of a team of loving individuals who love Christ and want to reach out to the community. I can't think of anything better.
New mission statement, inspiring hope. That's what's really it's all about for these folks. So they come here with hope. And it's really exciting for us to be able to be there to minister to some of their needs.
There's a desire for us to be more profoundly connected with the communities that we serve. Our mission statement of living God's love by inspiring health, wholeness, and hope calls us to make impact, and we've specifically called out our desire to serve the underserved in a unique way.
Hello, I'm Kathy Rhodes, and today we're talking about health with Mylan Homala. He's the Executive Director at Compassion Connect. Tell us what Compassion Connect is.
Compassion Connect is a nonprofit organization that does work nationally and globally to bring churches together to serve their neighbors, meet health needs, work on anti-trafficking and other issues, or basically a church uniting organization.
So what are some of the greatest needs concerning health?
The needs used to be really almost equal between medical and dental needs because of the huge number of uninsured. We had about 44 million uninsured in this country, up to about 5 years ago. And then the Affordable Care Act shifted things to really a dental focus. That's the biggest need that we're seeing in our low-income neighborhoods, are people who can't access dental services for kids, for adults, all ages.
What are some of the main reasons for lack of dental care or health care?
Dental is, there isn't the same infrastructure that there is for medical care on the Medicaid and Medicare side of the equation. So dental just doesn't have the affordable access to insurance. Medical, even those who are insured under the Affordable Care Act, many aren't able to access it because the paperwork, the system is very complex, it's very hard to navigate. Some are insured on paper, but they can't actually get care by finding a physician who will actually accept that insurance. The same is true with dental. Most state dental plans are not accepted by the vast majority of private practice dentists. And so you have a real accessibility issue. The other real big factor is that we have people who are undocumented or refugees who maybe only have care for a short amount of time. So we have a lot of vulnerable populations who are not able to get their basic health care needs met in the very complex kind of structure that we have in this country.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these people are not getting preventative care, how does that impact the types of problems you're seeing?
So on the dental side, we're seeing a lot of people who have, abscess or teeth that are just rotted out, that if they had had basic preventative care, fillings or caps on teeth, kids getting sealants on their teeth, those are all great preventative care options that aren't easy to access. And so we have people who are showing up in the clinics with just problems that could have been met earlier on at a much lower cost for the healthcare infrastructure.
Coming up,
I believe that neighborhoods are suffering when churches compete.
hear how one organization brings churches together to serve their neighbors both nationally and internationally. Stay tuned.
TBN Networks is sending the message of hope and grace to the world.
The Hillsong Channel, it's pretty miraculous.
Their music inspires how we worship. Now, their channel offers a worship experience like no other. The Hillsong Channel, just one of many networks that is reaching the world with faith.
When unity is involved, and not just one church doing their own program, it better serves the community. Once again, here's Kathy Rhodes.
Changing the way we think about solutions to healthcare can be healing in and of itself. But how do we do this? What do we do when traditional solutions aren't adequate?
Churches coming together to contribute and really be a blessing in people's life is something that is magnificent.
It's such a beautiful image of the way the church was designed, as made up of individuals who come together, extending into their communities, serving each other and serving others.
We can do it better together than we can on our own.
How did Compassion Connect begin?
We began because God had been working through us doing medical dental missions in Mexico, and then basically we just had that convicting question touch our hearts, which was, what about our own backyard? What about our own neighbors? We see our neighbors who are suffering, and so in a very low-income part of Portland, we united a group of churches out of necessity to pull off a free medical dental clinic event, basically an outreach in 2006. And really what God did there was so miraculous and so amazing that it just launched us into this place where we needed a neutral nonprofit who could convene churches and equip them to be Christ in the neighborhood. And so as we helped churches do clinics, we saw that there was something effective when unity was involved, not just individual churches doing their own programs, but working together arm in arm in the community. And I believe that neighborhoods are suffering when churches compete. I believe that neighborhoods are suffering when people of faith don't get to put their faith in action out in the streets. And so Compassion Connect designs these tools, these models of unity so that churches can link arms and people of faith can put their faith into action.
What does a Compassion Connect clinic look like?
It's a family fun atmosphere where people can come, first serve, and really connect with doctors, dentists. They can get their hair cut, they get a lunch, they can connect with volunteers from a dozen different churches in their neighborhood. They can find out about other social service agencies. It's a great place of hope and freedom.
Where do you get the volunteers?
The volunteers are coming from the churches and the community. So, at least half the volunteers, if you have 5-6 churches working together, they're coming from within those churches. And then they're also recruiting their friends from their places of work, because anyone can volunteer. It's not just people of faith who are serving guests at a clinic. It's everyone in the community coming together to serve. And so anyone can volunteer. And so you're looking for other doctors and dentists in your office or, in that hospital across the street to come and give a Saturday to love on their neighbors.
physically, the insides of their uterus can be damaged. And when that happens, no more babies.
Terminating an unplanned pregnancy is easier said than done. The lasting effects can be devastating. Stay tuned.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals 25.
Good job!
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
You know, sometimes you can watch people on television and you wonder, is this staged? Is this another program that's produced in a studio somewhere? Or is this real people with real stories talking about a real God? Well, what was beautiful is over time, I'd channel surf, and I'd get curious and I'd go back to TBN. But one time I stayed, and this time I listened. TBN is making the indelible difference because TBN preaches about one person, Jesus Christ.
Welcome back to Joy in Our Town. I'm Pastor D. Robinson. Did you know that an abortion can be done right up to the full-term birth of the baby? A word of caution, some of what you're about to hear is graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. Here now is Athena Sorensen.
Every year in the United States, millions of women experience an unplanned pregnancy. Tragically, many of these women choose to terminate their pregnancy. Abortion has become a nationwide epidemic, and its lasting effects are devastating. Why do you think so many women make the choice to have an abortion?
They get afraid, and if the man doesn't support her, they're afraid financially, they're afraid of their fathers, their mothers, their grandparents. A lot of them support abortion, and they don't want them to have the child because they want them to maybe go to college or something like that, or the boyfriend is saying to have the abortion. So we found that most girls, if you support her in her pregnancy, she will have the baby. And we have lots of stories like that where the male will support the woman. And that's why we have in the lobby a picture of a man holding a baby, because the men need to step up. We want to counsel the man and the woman about it.
Are Christians having abortions?
We know that probably 50% of all abortions are by Christian women. And I hope that, people that are listening to what I'm saying here will change their minds. If they would just see and learn what an abortion really is and what it does to the child. Like me, when I found out, I changed my mind. And we started this pregnancy center. And we saved over 10,000 babies over here already, probably more.
Can you explain to us what actually is the process of getting an abortion?
What actually happens during an abortion process is the so-called doctor wants to go in and kill your baby. That's his job. And if it's a small baby, like this size, they'll do a dilation and extraction, or a dilation and curettage. And what that is they'll take devices and open your cervix up, which is a muscle. It wants to be tight and closed. The baby's in a safe place, a uterus, and they'll open it up by putting these metal things in there, forcing it open, and then they'll go in there and they'll scrape the baby out. And then they have to reassemble the baby and make sure they got all the parts, because if you leave something in there, it'll rot and they'll get sepsis and they can die, and a lot of women do die. And another one that's really terrible is partial birth abortion, where they'll take a full-size baby. Up to 9 months you can get an abortion. It's legal, right up to birth. If the baby is due in an hour, you can still kill it. And what they'll do is they'll take the baby, pull it out by the legs, which is dangerous in the first place because babies come out head first. But they don't want to. They have to kill the baby before it comes out. So what they'll do is they'll take the baby and then they'll take scissors and they'll stab it in the neck like this, and they'll open up the hole with the scissors, and then they'll take a suction cannula and stick it in there and suck out the baby's brains and collapse the head, and then the baby will come out dead.
What are the physical and emotional aspects that happen to a woman after she's had an abortion?
They are huge. I have personal experience with women in my life and women close to me that I know who have told me, and I have read about it, that physically the insides of their uterus can be damaged. And when that happens, no more babies. I actually have close friends that tried to get pregnant for years and their uterus is damaged. No babies. They only had one baby, and it was the one that was killed by an abortionist, and that's it. As far as emotional, the damage is so deep in her psyche. She either puts it aside, but it's always there, and and what happens is the girl will start drinking, be promiscuous, just lose herself in life. It's just, some of them are suicidal. It's awful because they finally realize one day that they killed their only child, and then you got to deal with that. It's very difficult. It happened to me. I'm the guy, but it happened to me. I was just telling you the story of what happened in my life, and what I stopped. I had to cry.
Right. Yeah.
Even the men.
So this is not something you can recover from, not easily, if ever.
Psychological trauma, you can learn to live with it, but it's like the loss of a loved one. It's different. Your life is different. You'll never forget. It'll affect everything you do and say. And in my case, we created Aloha Pregnancy Care to help women not have to go through this. Why? Because I know how painful it is.
It is.
Coming up.
I put my trust in God, and I told him, I surrender everything to you.
Abortion is not the only solution to an unplanned pregnancy. There are other options. We'll be right back.
Many times as I was a kid, I was growing up, and I wasn't raised in a Christian environment. And I can remember multiple times my mom had sent me to my grandma's house, and my grandma always had TBN on her television, and that was my salvation. I actually got radically delivered from some things by watching TBN. I'm so thankful for this network. And if it wasn't for Christian broadcasting, the four corners of the world would not have been reached and would not have seen Jesus. So thank you, TBN.
They opened in 1998, and over 99% of women that come in choose life. Here's Athena Sorensen with the rest of our story.
For many women experiencing an unplanned pregnancy, abortion is not the only choice. But here in Hawaii, there's a special place that has been helping to save the lives of thousands of babies for over 20 years.
The Aloha Pregnancy Care and Counseling Centers opened in 1998. Our ultimate goal is to assist clients in choosing life, not just for their unborn children, but choose eternal life for themselves. We encourage our clients to become positive role models for others through their faith in Jesus Christ. We are here to provide encouragement and practical support to those experiencing unplanned pregnancies. Our highly trained volunteers and medical staff use a loving approach when talking with our clients. Many women and men call the center scared, with no one they can turn to for direction or support. Sometimes they have been shunned by friends and family, and in some cases, even by their church. Aloha Pregnancy Centers provide free services such as pregnancy tests, counseling, medical referrals, adoption assistance, and ultrasounds. In addition to the free services, our centers also have a Baby and Me boutique where all items are free. New moms receive maternity clothing, powdered milk, formula, diapers, clothing, and accessories for the baby.
I heard about the pregnancy center through the big, huge free pregnancy center sign. I have 6 kids. I have 2 boys. I have a set of triplet girls and a baby girl. And I come here for every pregnancy test. There was a time when I didn't have enough money to buy diapers. We're a few days shy of payday. So I found out through Carolyn that they have a Baby and Me where they help you with whatever you need, like clothes, diapers, wipes, and diapers is what I needed. I'm so thankful for this center because if you go to the regular stores like Walgreens, for just one pregnancy test, it's like $25. And when you're young, you don't have $25 to just grab a pregnancy test. And it's so, when I was younger, I didn't have my parents to lean on because they weren't okay with me getting pregnant. So I leaned on Aloha Pregnancy to help me, and if I needed to ask questions, they answered it. Like if I was gonna keep my babies, or if I wanted to give them up for adoption, they were gonna be there to help me. And I knew that I wanted to keep my children, but I knew that if ever I couldn't handle it, or if I needed that extra help, I could lean on Aloha Pregnancy. And I'm so thankful for all that they did for me growing up. And I hope one day I can help give back too when I'm successful.
Aloha Pregnancy Center, how may I help you? No, we don't do abortions, but we have many other services to help you.
Did you know every 15 seconds an abortion is performed in America? 50 million babies have been aborted in America since Roe v. Wade. As of 2009, there are 39 known abortion providers in Hawaii, averaging about 4,000 abortions in Hawaii each year. This is why the Aloha Pregnancy Care and Counseling Centers must continue our mission. Since 1998, the Aloha Pregnancy Care and Counseling Centers helped 44,000 women from ages 12 to 53. That includes more than 40,000 calls, over 8,000 free pregnancy tests, and over 3,000 pregnancies confirmed at our centers. We truly have helped and saved thousands of babies since 1998, and our goal is to save many, many more.
Here at the Aloha Pregnancy Center, we are surrounded in this room with boy clothes, girl clothes, diapers, booster seats. Look at all of this clothes that have been donated by people who want to help these unborn babies. Many mothers come here seeking help. They need pajamas for their little one. There is so much here to help mothers. This truly is a blessing. So cute. Walk us through what happens when a woman comes through your doors.
Normally, a woman who walks here is afraid, doesn't know what to expect, and that's why she's welcome here with a big smile. And she fills out papers, first of all, proves her identity, and we start asking her questions, and if she's a little nervous, you know, we calm her down first, but we make sure that she knows that her being here is confidential. Her being here is our concern as much as hers. So she is loved and welcomed here. As we know, love overcomes everything. We are a Christian ministry. And I tell our girls, you don't have to say that you're a Christian. All you have to do is act like a Christian, yeah. So we give love, we do not change, and I believe God has blessed us for that.
What other services do you offer besides ultrasounds?
We provide services for needy families, which I'm very, very proud of. You know, we give out free diapers, free baby wipes, free food, free clothing, blankets, you name it. This center used to be Planned Parenthood. Yeah, our founder found out Planned Parenthood was leaving this building, and he took over the lease right away. And God has this small pregnancy center under his wings.
I was 15 years old and I found out I was pregnant because I took a pregnancy test. And then the next day after, my mom had a feeling that I was pregnant. So she called me one day and she told me, I scheduled you an appointment at Aloha Pregnancy Center, and that's when we came in and I met Alana. And then we sat down here at the center, and Alana asked me, what are your thoughts, or do you know what your plan is with this baby? And right away my answer was to have an abortion. And then she told me, you know, you have different options, but my mind was already set on having an abortion. So the first thing that she showed me was this little kit of, there's like little models of babies in it. And then each of it would show like how big your baby is. As I laid there while the lady was doing the ultrasound, there was this poster on the wall that it showed like a baby in the mother's womb, and the baby was just about as old as my child was, and next to it there was a scripture where it said, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord." And it said, plans to prosper and not to harm you. And it was in that moment where I like put my trust in God, and I told him, you know, like, I surrender everything to you, and I'm gonna be obedient to you, and I'm gonna have this baby. You know, he gave me 3 chances to change my mind, and I'm glad that he like gave me another chance to do that. And just knowing the opportunities that I have that was available to me from coming here.
That's all for now. I'm Pastor D. Robinson. Join us again next time on Joy in Our Town.
If your ministry provides services for the community, we'd love to have you as our guest. Please send us the name of your organization, the contact person, phone number, website, and a brief description of your ministry. We look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you right here this time next week.
You're watching TBN.